Thank you all very much for coming. So, how to say no for IT professionals is, I mean, it's obviously a big issue because saying no is difficult. It's emotionally stressful. In some cultures, saying no directly in those words is insulting. It's aggressive. It's negative. And in all cultures, it's unpleasant. Nobody wants to say no. Uh, even when we don't want to do the action, the act of saying no it's always difficult for us. And it's worse at work. If you'll take a look at the chat box to the right, I mentioned a couple. Actually, hang on. We'll get to that in just a second. Um, let's go in here and talk about some objectives. When is it appropriate for you to say no? I mean, we're not trying to turn everybody into Bartleby the Scrivener. For those of you who never majored in English, Bartleby the Scrivener. We're not trying to say no to everything. We know it is our professional responsibility and frequently our pleasure to say yes to a lot of the things that we need to do at work, but not everything. When we need to say no, we need to do it. How do we do it? Assertively and politely in a way that minimizes negative consequences. And then how do we deal with those? Because people aren't necessarily eager to accept the very first no that comes in their direction. Steve Jobs points out it's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important. And one of the career lessons is that while it's obviously important to say yes to lots of the professional obligations that you have, if you cannot say no, instead of being a team player and leader of the future, instead you basically get treated as a doormat. You have to say no, and that is part of your growth into leadership. It is as much a part of your job, maybe not as frequently, but it certainly is important in your job as knowing how and when to say yes. Now, at the beginning, as I said, in the chat window, I put 3 questions to get you to think about them. What makes it difficult? Why is it difficult to say no to a boss or customer? What are the consequences of saying yes? And how should you decide when to say no? So, I mean, we know some basic reasons, but for these, if you have a particular reason, what makes it tough to say no to a boss or customer? Type an answer in the chat box, or if you want to ask a question related to that, you can type it in the Q&A box. Either way works. And so, why? What makes it difficult for you to say no to bosses or customers, coworkers? What are the consequences of always saying yes? Is it a good idea? What happens if you don't say no? And then how do you decide when you need to do that? Sometimes you just like them personally. Absolutely. When you do like somebody, you don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to upset them. You don't want to make yourself less likable. That's a reason. That's an important reason. Well, let's go into these in more detail and see what we can do. Why is no important? Well, the first is that that realistically there's only so much we can do. And if we find ourselves being pushed and pressured into saying yes to work that really we're not going to be able to get done, or other things are going to start falling by the wayside, uh, or, for example, our personal lives, we can end up with mistakes. We can end up with burnout. There are consequences for us and for our organization. And if you keep saying yes, you actually lower people's estimation of your performance. And the reason is that if you're saying yes to everything, you're creating this unrealistic and unfair set of expectations that the higher you make that bar for yourself, the harder it is to get over it. And when you fall short of what people see as your acceptance, their opinion of you actually goes down rather than up. If you don't say no up front and draw those barriers where they need to be, or those boundaries where they need to be, it's going to be an issue. and you pay a price. The health consequences are actually uh, quite serious. Uh, what's this? They talk about sleep disorders and sleep disruption, tension, digestive issues, headaches, depression, um, panic attacks, problems in concentration. Being under constant stress and pressure and overwork actually lowers the effective IQ that you have. People's uh, raw intelligence on a practical level can drop 10, 20 points under that situation. And many of us under overwork have had the experience, certainly I have, of making mistakes under those circumstances that we never would have made otherwise. So there are real consequences to saying yes too easily and too often. And there are those inner messages. You are a team player if you say yes. And and remember, absolutely saying yes is a big part of your job. But uh, we've already identified that taking on responsibilities you can't discharge effectively. All of these are really going to make you not look like a team player. You might be rejected. You might feel that you lose your job. Um, People might not think you work hard enough. You know, there is. Oh, I was just scroll down. I missed a couple of things that I'd seen up there. No room for negotiation. Personalities. All of the yes, these are big issues. If I don't do it, I'm letting down people. Sometimes people have a real need, and we know that. And still, we have to be cognizant of our total responsibilities. There's also the ego. If I do it, it'll be done right. If I don't step in and do it, and somebody else does it, it may not be done correctly. If that, by the way, is the issue, uh, think about what can you do to train other people so they can do it right. It may take a little bit of effort up front, but it'll reduce that problem long term. Now, I mean, the comment was made: boundaries have to be set and adhered to, and if you are looking to advance in leadership or grow in the organization, that's something that you must demonstrate. You must be able to set and negotiate those boundaries. When do you say no? Well, somebody's just come to you with a request. Now, what are you going to do with that request? Well, if I say yes, is it going to make it difficult or impossible for me to deal with my regular responsibilities? Um, if I say yes, am I going to be supporting?
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.